Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. My next guest is making her first appearance on the James Show. Am I talking to Sarah Delane or Sarah Lane, first of all? Welcome to the James Show. Give the listeners a little bit of your background before we start jumping into the issues here, Sarah.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me on. But yes, it is Sarah Delane. I was originally, my background was in the entertainment industry, so there is an AKA of Sarah Lane, yes. If you Google, you'll find both. But so I started in Hollywood. Now I'm a personal brand expert, business consultant, marketing strategist, and agency owner. So my agency is Stage 8.
Fantastic. Yeah, because if I Google you to try and look at what you're up to, a lot of stuff pops up. So apparently you've been very busy. So let's talk. So let's talk about what you do now.
So I do branding and marketing. I specialize in people who have a personal brand. They're the face of their business. They need to manage their reputations online. They need to build a business or sell a product or a service. And the best and fastest, most efficient way to do that is using the power of their personal brand. So I help them strategize their business and create marketing campaigns using the power of their personal brand.
All right, Sarah Delane. So what would you tell Elon Musk? Over the last couple of weeks, there's been a rash of vandalism to Cybertrucks and Tesla showrooms. And now there's like a hacking attempt at Twitter/X. How does someone like that repair their brand, or can they repair their brand?
So I think what the important conversation is, because it's really not about political sides as much as that's in the conversation. I think the real story is actually about kind of the radical, rebellious behavior of some of these individuals that are unable to be civil. And it kind of reflects the level of mental illness by some of them, if I'm going to go so bold to say. And we really need to stop tolerating that behavior, regardless of political views. So some of these campaigns that are like, make them a toxic brand in order to take them down, Elon being the most recent one, I really feel like the real toxic brand that why we aren't addressing is the individuals who are starting these campaigns that incite violence, defamation, then it extends to hurting innocent people, which is exactly what's happening. People who are driving Teslas or getting vandalized just because they own a Tesla. So all of that, we've just reached a level in society that just really, our tolerance should be no.
Right. Well, Sarah Delane, if Elon Musk called you, he's like, look, you're a brand strategist. Clearly, I need some brand strategy here. Would you tell him to do anything different, or would you tell him, look, this is just the nature of the game. Keep plugging along. You're not doing anything wrong.
So I think, and I don't know Elon, and I haven't met with him personally, and I don't know what his business model is from a branding perspective. Again, outside of politics, and this, like, don't make any assumptions on what my political views are based on this statement either. However, from simply a brand perspective, I think his brand archetype is creator and innovator. And so every brand and every personal brand is driven by their purpose, and it's driven by their values and the mission that they want to create and impact they want to create in the world. I think that he's focused on that. It's then the people who kind of want to try to take that down. So where are we as any leader, anybody who has a personal brand, or anybody who wants to build anything in the world, again, you have to do what you're going to do. And there's always going to be somebody who's like the little bully that's going to try to, take down your sandcastle that you built. And that's where I think the conversation needs to be. But I tell CEOs, entrepreneurs all the time, absolutely, based on society, it's not the smartest thing, obviously, to share your political or even your religious views because society shows up this way. So again, if we're not addressing that conversation, then CEOs aren't going to feel like they're able to share what those political or religious views are. Again, though, he's a creator. He's an innovator. He's building. So he's going to keep building, whatever that is. And as long as he's driven by those values from a business and a brand perspective, we can respect that. The people who are trying to tear that down, I feel like any leader, anybody who's trying to build anything would really relate compassionately to that.
Well, I relate on a much smaller scale to that because, no one's like torching our office or spray painting my car or anything. But we have to deal with a certain stigma that comes with being on talk radio. And, we have like Dan Bongino, and before that we had Rush Limbaugh on. And so there's always going to be some people out there that think we're like literally Hitler. And that's so exhausting. Like
isn't it?
Right. The sports guys don't have to deal with that. The country guys don't have to deal with that. If I was on a rock station, I wouldn't have to deal with that. But it's something that my heart bleeds a little for this guy because I'm in an opinion format where we talk about subjects that are necessarily going to be divisive in the eyes of some people. And I don't know how I get around that.
So here's this, like from a bird's eye view. Again, if we as a culture, as a society, if we want to foster growth, any company culture knows that if you go too far left or too far right, that doesn't foster growth. So from a cultural, international, or even domestic stance, if we can't see past, as individuals that make up this culture, if we can't see past just left versus right, then we're only limiting ourselves into binary thinking, which kind of just puts you in a very sophomoric place. And so we have the power and we have the ability to kind of go back to the yes and rule if we want to, if we can, and get that third perspective. And if we can do that, then I feel like what people don't like is they don't like injustice.
Well, I think we saw Bud Light do a turnaround where they ran into some political waters and the heat was on them for a few months. And then they just turned around and threw a bunch of money at people who were perceived to be on the other side of the aisle, and they've kind of leveled it out. They bought a big endorsement with UFC and Dana White and Shane Gillis and didn't they get like a Kid Rock endorsement out of this too or something like that?
I think it was. Yeah. I think if I remember, I'd have to double check, but you're right. Bud Light.
So it can happen. You can be staying with politics and turn it back around.
So that's what I think. If we let people have freedom to change their minds, to backpedal or whatever, is he going to? I don't know. Again, I don't call him at home. And yet at the same time, we all should reserve the right to say, okay, did we go too left, or did we go too right, just like those brands? I think they went a little too hard in one direction. And again, that doesn't foster growth. So I agree with you. Like if you put out I think Elon has put out a statement where he's like, hey, sorry for the innocent people who have been affected, which I agree with. I think that was really, really smart. So he's doing his best to address the narrative. Can he pull back? It's unfortunate that it becomes so political just because it happens to be Trump. If we were looking at two businessmen, we wouldn't be having the same conversation. We'd say, look, those are two creators and they're looking to collaborate on something. And what's going to come out of it, we don't know. Is it going to be good? We don't know. Is it going to be bad? We don't know.
Well, Sarah,
but where are we slashing people for giving it a shot? Try something.
Right. Sarah, it's a good chat. We're just out of time. Where do we find your work online?
It's stage8.com or sarahdelane.com is my personal brand. Sarah is spelled a little differently, SERAHDLAINE. You can always Google my name. You can find anything there. And Stage 8 is STAGE and then IIX.com.
Yeah.
So, or on social media. Just hit me up, Instagram or LinkedIn.
All right. And if you're a General Hospital fan, you may recognize some of the pictures that pop up in the Google search. My mother-in-law is going to go type that in right now. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks, James. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Coming up next on the James Show, we got to delve into the audio sound bites because along the lines of what I was just talking about with Sarah, Bill Maher has some sort of brand strategist ideas for Team Blue that he wishes they would adopt. And I think you'll like what you hear coming up next. This was on his show on Friday. I pulled the audio comparing the complaints of people now to the people with complaints of yesteryear. That's coming up in 4 minutes on the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Tomorrow I'll be announcing the location for our next James Show listener meetup, and I do have the date already. I do have the town. It's going to be March 25th. That's a Tuesday, 7 p.m. in Plano. But where? You'll find out on tomorrow's show. Also, coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to play Dead or Alive. Now, if you're interested in trying to win these tickets to go see Santana, then you can go ahead and call up and get in line because, if the phones fill up before you call in, there's no way you can win. So if you want to go ahead and get in line for that, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. 2 tickets to see Santana April 25th at the WinStar Casino, just north of here a little bit. Bill Maher, he's been interesting to watch because he's one of the guys that we have tracked. He is on Team Blue, but he is off the reservation. He is on Team Blue, but he does not follow the script. And so it's been a curious case. This is a guy that, I don't know about you, but when I see a stand-up on its own, even the political stuff, he's a funny guy. He's legit funny. He's not going out there just insulting or politically bombing people. There's a level of clever and intellect on him. So let's give him credit for that. Now, I've been waiting to see if he makes that full Joe Rogan transition, that full Elon Musk transition, Russell Brand. We have so many of these people who were Team Blue through their youth, and they did the transition that so many people do when they get 30s, 40s, 50s. They just kind of drift over to Team Red. And I don't think Bill Maher's going to at this point. He's in his 60s or maybe even 70s at this point. So I don't think he's ever going to admit that, I guess I was wrong my entire life. Here's the way I feel now. So I think he's a guy who's just trapped in Team Blue, but still his critique of his own, the people wearing his jersey are just beautiful. This was from his HBO show where he makes fun of the beginning of the Oscars.
And finally, new rule, memo to Democrats. If you ever want to win an election again, the absolute most important first step is stop doing this.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land.
Yeah, I don't know if we're still saying cringe. Is that? But if we are, that's this. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Either give the land back or shut the up.
Right. When did we start doing that? Hey, I just wanted to say before we start this Oscar award ceremony that we're standing on stolen land. We sure are evil. Boy, the history of this country sure is flawed. Does politics have to be inserted everywhere at all times? I mean, we can't even get to the red carpet, not even past the red carpet, to the red carpet before you're confronted with politics. I can't even watch a football game without saying it takes all of us in the end zone or end racism on the back of someone's helmet. Dude, what level of propaganda does it take before you people are like, yeah, it's a little too much. I'm a little uncomfortable with that. All land is stolen land. Those people you just mentioned, they probably stole it from whatever tribe was there before we were. And what stolen land are we on? Like right now, would I have to do that? I'm sorry, you're listening to the James Show. Before we get started, I just want to say that we're operating on stolen land. This was stolen from what? Mexico? It was only Mexico for like 16 years. Well, then it was what? Spain before that? Wait, aren't they colonizers too? So we just supplanted other European colonizers and we're the bad guy? Oh, no, but before that, it was like for the Apaches or the Comanches or whatever. Yeah, well, that's because they came in and slaughtered who was before them, because the Comanches are from up in Wyoming. I've read their history. Anyway, where does this end? Dude, even if you say, well, we stole this from the indigenous Mexica people, the Mexicans. Well, they stole it from the Olmecs, and the Olmecs stole it from whoever was before that didn't write anything down or make any statues, so we don't have a record of them. But it's just such a silly exercise, and it feels so good to hear someone just stand up and be like, no, that's embarrassing. That doesn't help the cause. That's cringe.
Look, I understand the desire to right the wrongs of the past, especially when you get to take the moral high ground and then build an 8,000 square foot mansion on it. And I'm sure Julianne Hough is sincere about her love for the Chumash people, but I doubt she drives to work in a canoe, scavenges for acorns, or lives in a dome house made of reeds and dried mud. That's Woody Harrelson.
Yes. Solid jokes. All right, Dead or Alive is coming up next. Don't even bother calling in because the lines are full. That's why, because we're giving away Santana tickets. But if you just hang out for about 6 or so minutes, you can play along in your car, wherever you're listening, at work or whatever. It'll be the 60s TV edition of Dead or Alive. How well do you know your TV stars from the top shows of the 1960s? Find out next on Dead or Alive. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. For our next story, we're going to go up to Terre Haute. Is that how you pronounce it? Indiana? I've always seen it written. I'm not sure if I've ever heard anyone say it. Haute, Terre Haute, Indiana. And there's an O'Reilly store. And I don't know what this fella did to get himself banned from the O'Reillys, but he already has a restraining order, some sort of court order that he's not allowed to go into the O'Reillys. But damn it, he just has to go into the O'Reillys. All right. So what's his deal? I don't know if he's a former employee or if he's an irate customer, but he's already legally barred from going in there, and he goes in and goes straight for one employee and starts yelling at him, all according to witnesses. And I got this off bearingarms.com. And so the argument escalates. He's asked to leave, where we're going to call the cops. If you don't leave, you're not allowed to be here. And, you know, if the cops show up and you're legally barred from being there, they'll just, no questions asked, slap some cuffs on you, take you, throw you behind bars. So the irate man, customer, former employee, we don't know yet, goes out to his car and gets what looks like a gun, but this is actually an airsoft gun. Uh-oh. Do we know where this is going now? So he goes back in, and there's a dude that's working on his car in the parking lot of O'Reilly's. I know you're not supposed to do that, but he's kind of witnessing all this going on, and he has a for real gun. And so when he goes and sees this guy pull out what he thinks is a gun, and then he watches him go back into the store, and the guy points it at the employee he was arguing with. It's a real looking gun. It just happens to be an airsoft gun. And now I don't know what is in his head. The police haven't released his name, but I'm trying to fathom what is going on in his head. What does this guy think was going to happen when he walks back into the store with a plastic gun or with a fake gun, an airsoft gun? Did he expect the employee to call up the judge who said, hey, can you rescind the no trespass order? Or say, hey, I'm sorry, you can have your job back, or I'm sorry I stole your girlfriend, or whatever the grievance is? What is he going to do? Because even if he is like really mad and I want to hurt him, what are you going to do? You know, not even break the skin with that thing. So you just want to scare the crap out of some guy, I think, is all he wanted to do, even though it resulted in him going to jail. So like the illogic is just off the charts. But what happens? A guy with the gun, real gun, stops working on his car, goes into the O'Reillys, and I guess he's not a very good shot. He starts squeezing off rounds. I guess he's from a distance or something. And he just unloads his gun, but only 3 bullets hit the guy. It's not fatal wounds. He actually runs out of the O'Reillys, drives to a hospital, and he's in stable condition. Well, I think someone else drove him to the hospital, like a car was waiting on him. But I am just on the floor trying to figure out what was his plan. What was his exit strategy to pointing an airsoft pistol at an O'Reilly's employee when you already have a no trespass order? That dude, that's a good way to get yourself killed, either by a good guy with a gun or a cop or someone else at O'Reilly's. And look, you're at O'Reilly's. You are surrounded by weapons. Any other customer can just go grab a crowbar and thump him in the head while he's pointing the gun at him, or stab him with a screwdriver, or hit him with a ball hitch, like you're gonna to drag a hay trailer. You need to get a new ball hitch. They have those there. You can just thump someone in the head with one of those. That'd knock him right out, crush his skull. What was your end game? What were you trying to accomplish? What did you think was going to happen? I love it when people do this over broken relationships. What do you think, she's going to take you back after you do that? I can't fathom the mindset. People get enraged. They do illogical stuff, but I've never seen that before. Way to go, genius. And hey, congratulations to the good guy with a gun. And on the upside, this guy didn't have to live with the stain and the pain of actually taking another life in order to diffuse this dangerous situation. But idiot got what was coming to him. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But here's a good prize. James Taylor and his all-star band are coming to Dickies Arena September 17th. Special guest, Tiny Habits. You can get tickets and information at livenation.com, or you can maybe win some tickets from us. Text FIRE to 800-288-9227. FIRE to 800-288-9227. 9227. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.